I have been on a journey to be someone. And along the way, I learned the secrets. It's your friends, the people you choose to spend time with. My life, health, and wealth have been changed forever by the people around me. And now it's time for you to meet my friends. This is the Be Someone podcast with Michael Hong. Before today's show starts, I wanted to share a warning. There is strong language on today's show. Our guest is very passionate about what he does. I've known him for a long time, and I loved our conversation. Just wanted to give fair warning. Can't wait for you guys to meet today's guest. Welcome back to the Be Someone podcast with Michael Hong. Today I have the man, the legend, Steve Rozenberg from Houston, Texas. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's great to see you again.
Man, it's great to see you too. So we've known each other from the Bigger Pockets world, and we've ran into each other in conferences before. And a little known fact, we are both here in Houston, Texas. I love putting local boys on the spot as much as I can. And it is great to see your face again, man. It's like, since I've met you, you haven't aged a bit. Like whatever you're doing, it's working, brother.
I've aged, trust me. When it takes you 30 minutes to roll out of bed, you feel the pain, man.
This guy's being modest. For those of you not watching on YouTube, he has more muscle volume on his left bicep than I have in my entire core. Okay, this guy's doing something right, man. So
I'm trying every day. Every day I'm trying to be a better version of myself, I guess.
Yeah, whatever secret serum you're using to stay this youthful, man, you gotta turn me on. I know you're on that. Are you on that Joe Rogan stem cell doctor whatever stuff? What do you got?
No, dude, I'm like that old soul. I get up every day. I get up at 3:45 every morning. I get to the gym. I'm at the gym by 4:15, 4:30 at the latest. I work out for 2 hours, done by 6:30, home by 7, do my morning ritual, ready to roll at about 8:15, start my day. That's copy, paste, repeat, man. It's the boring stuff that people don't want to hear, but it's what works.
That's right. Yeah, fitness is just like wealth creation, man. It is boring. It is mechanical. It is predictable. You don't get rich overnight. You don't look as good as Steve Rozenberg overnight. Just
Thanks,
little basic boring steps over and over on repeat, man. And people don't want to hear that. They want the easy button. They want the drugs to look good, or They want the easy button to get rich, and it ain't out there.
Nope.
It is not out there. So, Steve, you're still working W-2?
Yeah, still have a W-2.
That's right. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I know a lot about Steve's story. We know each other. But Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. And again, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy doing these shows. So born and raised in actually Southern California, moved out here about 21 years ago with my company. I'm an airline pilot. So I fly for a local airline here in Houston, United Airlines. I've been with them almost 30 years and got hired at 25 years old. Second youngest person hired by the airline, and had the best job in the world. And that ended on 9/11. Actually, 2 days after 9/11, because that was the day that I got my furlough notice from my dream job. And I had to basically understand that the life that I had built, the identity that I had as a pilot, was no more. My belief of being an employee and being a pilot, it wasn't relevant anymore. And I will tell you, for anyone watching or listening that has gone through something like this, it is a gut check, because you really have to ask yourself, what am I going to do with my life? Right? Because all I knew how to do was be a pilot and have a job and fly routes. And now that didn't exist. And I remember thinking to myself when I got escorted out of the building, what am I going to do? Like, who am I? Because I'm not that guy anymore. And it's very scary, very vulnerable, very nervous. 9/11 had just happened. It was 2 days after, so the world was in shock. Now I am out of a job and out of a career for something that I had nothing to do. I had nothing to do with it, but I'm a collateral damage. So after I had my pity party, I finally decided, okay, I've got two options here. One option is I keep living this life of despair and misery and bitching and complaining. and I keep living that life every single day, or I kill off that life and I start a new life. And the new life is one of abundance, one that I can do anything I want to do if I focus, and one that I can have everything I see other people having that I want to have. So I made a choice. And the choice was, I'm going down that path, the ladder. I went to this big building. They have books in it. It's called the library. Got a library card. And I started reading a book a week on what do people do that make money? Like like I had no idea, because my whole life I was a pilot. And it turns out that a lot of people were wealthy because of real estate. I didn't know anything about real estate, had no idea, but I'm like, well, I've just read a lot of books on it. I might as well go down this path. So I started reading books on real estate, everything I could imagine. Started learning about creative real estate. Some of the audience may know, I don't even know if you do it anymore. It's called the double escrow close. I learned how to negotiate with options. I am not the most handy guy in the world, so I can't even swing a hammer. So I learned that I had to learn to make my wealth basically from the neck up, which is negotiating. So I started taking classes on negotiating and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and other things. And I started learning how to buy and sell and negotiate. Like everybody, I got my ass handed to me. I got ripped off. I got lied to, all that stuff. But I kept going back to my identity of who I was going to be. And even though I failed, I never quit, because I kept getting back up. I started buying real estate. I made enough money from all the flipping and wholesaling and everything that I was doing that I bought an apartment complex in Houston, me and a business partner. We sold that complex. We bought houses with the money. We had about 40 houses. Then we realized we had bought the wrong houses. We bought houses that people don't want. They're called low-income houses. It's not that they're bad. We just didn't know how to run them correctly. Then we found out nobody wanted to manage those houses, because low-income houses are very, very hard. They make money when they make money. But if not, we'd have like an 8-month vacancy, 8-month occupancy. When the tenants would leave, they would love to take parting gifts with them, like wiring, electrical, light bulbs, all the appliances. So we'd come back to the shell of a house 8 months later, and we're like, what the fuck do we do now? So we would copy, paste, repeat. Finally, we got to the point of saying, okay, we don't know what we're doing. We need to hand this off to a management company. So we interview a bunch of management companies, and nobody wants them. They're like, these properties are horrible. Like, we couldn't even do Section 8, just to give you a rough idea. They wouldn't even pass a Section 8 inspection. And we weren't slumlords. We would fix them. They were just shitty houses. I mean, like, they were just bad properties. So we finally decided that if we wanted to fix it, we had to do it ourselves. So we sat down and we created the management company infrastructure, how we as investors would want to run our own portfolio. Now, I got to imagine, this is 2010. I just give you some reference. No softwares were big. Management companies were not as known. Well, we fixed those problems. We had other local investors. You know, we knew a lot of people in Houston, and they started coming to us asking us, hey, could you manage our properties? And we're like, hell no, we don't want your problems. Like, we barely fixed ours. But then we realized, you know, maybe there's a business here. Maybe maybe we could do something. So we go to a business coach, and we talk to the guy, and we're like, hey, look, we don't know what we're doing. We have no idea, but this is what we've done. This is where we're at. This is who we are. And so he's like, well, come back a couple days later and I'll tell you if what you got. So I tell my business partner, I'm like, dude, when we go back to this guy, he's going to give us the word of what is going to take to be successful. So have your pen ready and write it down, because we're out of there. As soon as we learn this word, we're going to go make millions. So we go back, and he's like, well, I got good news and bad news. We're like, okay, let's go with the good news. He goes, the good news is you have a business potential. You've got an opportunity. You've got the ability to scale, and there's a huge market. You have the potential to make millions of dollars. Like, yes. Ready to write. And he goes, here's the bad news. You two guys are not the smartest guys on earth, and you will be bankrupt in 6 months because you have no idea what it means to run a business. And you're already going out of business as we speak. And I'm sitting there with my pen like, Okay, I'm not really sure what to write here. He goes, but I can help you. I'm like, okay. So we hire this guy. We couldn't afford to hire him, couldn't afford not to hire him. We hire this guy as our business coach. We stay with this guy for 7 years. During that time, we become the fastest growing property management company in the state of Texas. We scaled to over 1,000 single family properties. We took my knowledge and training as an airline pilot and we injected that into a business, processes, procedures, structure, checklists. And it started to run without us. And we are growing and scaling and growing and scaling. We're in Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth. And we are actually looking to franchise and blow this out of the US. And a VC firm came to us. They were funded about $200 million. And they said, we want to buy you. And we said, we don't want to sell. And they said, if the check is big enough, everybody will sell. And they were correct. The check was big enough and we sold. So after that, I started showing people how I do it. Real estate investors, property managers, entrepreneurs, how to make their businesses run without them, the way airlines run, and how to grow and scale exponentially fast. There's my story.
Wow, you really put a bow on that one, Steve. You must have told this story once or twice before.
I have told it a few times.
Man, I love it. Yeah, I already knew a lot of that about you, but a couple little details I did not. That is awesome, brother. And the whole time you were doing this, you kept a full-time job, right?
Correct. I ended up a couple years later, after I got furloughed in the airline industry, union job, you end up getting your job back, which I did. But the thing is because I had a new identity as an entrepreneur, I never ever relied on my job. I always relied on my ability to be an entrepreneur. To this day, I fly a Boeing 777 for United Airlines. Best part-time job in the world. You know why? Because I don't need it. I travel the world because I want to. And so I love what I do because I can enjoy what I do. As a little kid, I wanted to fly planes. And some people will ask me, they're like, well, Steve, why, if you're such a big deal, why do you keep flying? I'm like, where does it say that because you have a certain zeros in your bank account that you need to quit doing what you love doing? Now, if you hate it, different story. But I love it. I love being a pilot. I go to Tokyo, Japan, Amsterdam, Buenos Aires, Munich, Germany. I've got clients all over the world that I coach. I got a bunch of real estate friends in Hawaii. We hang out in Honolulu. I'm living the dream as far as being able to see everyone and hang out with my clients and friends. I think that's a great gig.
Yeah, I agree. Some people become entrepreneurs or real estate investors so they can move on to doing what they really love. But man, there was a period of time where I was still working. I'm real estate retired now, but there was a period of time where I was still working. And the moment I didn't have to work, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
It was a different feeling. And then I look at my boss and the people above me that are 60 years old with gray hair or no hair on their head at all, and they have to work every single day. And I was having a completely different experience than they were at the same company doing the same thing. And why would you leave your job, man? You love what you're doing. You're traveling on someone else's dime. I mean, what more could you want?
Dude, I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world. I get to travel around the world speaking on stages. So I speak all over the world, all over the US on different stages and events that we all know people. And then I get to travel and I fly a $250 million aircraft all over the world. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. You know, I love what I do. And I tell people all the time, if you hate it, different story. If I get to the point that I just don't like it anymore, I get it, but I'm not there. I love what I do. I enjoy it. It's my deal. It's funny because I always tell people, at least I have the option. I talk to other people, they're fucking miserable. I'm like, why don't you make a decision? You know, one thing I've learned is, especially people in the real estate world, everybody tells me about their problems. They think about it. They talk about it. But Michael, you know what they don't do? They don't make a decision to fix it. If you make a decision to fix your problem, like it takes a second to decide that you're no longer going to be broke. It may take 6 months or a year to actually do it. But many people don't make the decision to stop being broke mentally. And they have no idea what it looks like. They don't know what their life is going to look like. They're running away from a life they don't want. And so the problem is, when it comes to real estate investors, and I know because I am one, they identify as a real estate investor. I think that is a huge mistake, because at the end of the day, you, me, I coach roofers, contractors, property managers, real estate investors, you name it, all over the world. But you know what we all are? We're all entrepreneurs just trying to have a better life. And we're using the mechanism of real estate, or the mechanism of roofing, or catering, or being a chef, or making coffee. That is the vessel that we use to ultimately have the better life. But many people get caught up in saying, I'm a flipper, I'm a wholesaler, I'm a burr, whatever the fucking acronym is people use these days. I'm like, no, you're a business owner. Act like it, think like it, talk like it, so that whenever any kind of business deal crosses your path, maybe it makes sense for you. Maybe it's a better life. But people say like, oh, I hear these terms all the time. Like, I only take down burrs or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean you take down? Like, be a business owner. Use the business owner vernacular. Use the lingo that we use. Like, don't muddy up with what you're doing, because the reason I say this is you will never have the life you want to have of enjoying what you've done if you're always identifying as this thing. It's like saying, I'm the freeway. You and I are in Houston. It's like saying, I'm the 45 freeway. It's like, no, use the 45 freeway to go to Galveston with your family to enjoy the weekend. Go to the beach. Don't be the freeway. And people just have a hard time with that. In real estate, I think because we live in a house, we have a hard time disassociating the mechanism to give us the life we want with what we live in, which is a primal need.
Man, I love that, Steve. Anybody who didn't catch that, they need to roll that back a couple of minutes and hear that over again. Whatever you're struggling with in your life, you need to hear that one more time. I think of it a different way. We've all heard the saying that most people live lives of quiet desperation, most men. And I saw that firsthand in corporate America as I was climbing from a blue collar job to a white collar job, and then climbing to get out of it. But I like how you look at it. That's a really great perspective, Steve. So we're going to wind this way back. Talk about your first deal. A lot of people that watch the show have either recently got their first deal or are trying to get their first deal. So if you can remember that far back, because you've scaled and sold businesses and flown planes and been all over the world since then, let's talk about your first real estate deal. Does that sound good?
Yeah. So are we talking my first ever entrance or rental property, or what do we, just so I understand?
Yeah, probably not your primary residence, your first investment property. Yeah.
So here's a funny story. So I get furloughed from the airlines, and I'm like, okay, real estate is something that makes sense. It's logical, right? But I have no money. I've got no money. And so I'm like, okay, when I wanted to be a pilot, I read books. I watched videos. YouTube didn't exist. So I watched videos, cassette tapes, and I had a flight instructor. Flight instructor taught me how to fly. When I started learning real estate, I read books, I watched videos, but I'm like, I wonder if there's someone out there that teaches real estate. So I go on, I think it was probably Craigslist or eBay at the time, I don't know. So MySpace, I don't fucking know. So I go on there, and sure enough, this guy's on there, and he's a real estate coach. So I call him up, I tell him what I did. He goes, yep, I can help you. He's like, I'm gonna teach you how to do creative real estate, creative financing. I'm like, okay, what is that? He's like, I'll show you. I'm like, okay. He goes, if you do what I say, it will work. So I pay the guy $10,000.
Love it. If you do what I say, it'll work. And what do we have the hardest time doing in our space, Steve?
Dude, I'm thinking to myself, I just paid you $10,000 that I didn't have. I put it on credit cards. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why would I not? He goes, you'll see. I'm like, okay. I go, but it'll work. He goes, I promise you it'll work. I'm like, that's all I need to hear. I do everything the guy says, everything to the T, right? I'm a pilot. I do what I'm told. 30 days later, I am sitting in an escrow office doing a double escrow close. I got the buyer, the seller, everything. I got my phone with my mentor. It's the brick phone. You remember those in the old days? So I got the brick phone, right? And I'm sitting there, and the guy's like, just keep me on the phone, and just when I tell you to pass me to whomever, pass the phone, and I will talk to everyone, and we will do the transaction. I'm like, okay. So I got the phone, and I'm passing the phone along, and everyone's doing this, and I'm thinking to myself, I am going to jail. Like, there is no way this is legal. Like this, there is no way what is going on is legal right here. And I'm watching everything happen. They're using words. They're using, all this acronyms and terms. And I'm like, what? I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to explain this to my family? Like, I got furloughed and then I did this scam. Sure enough, man, like 45 minutes later, everyone shakes hands. We all stand up. So I stand up too, and I got my phone with me, and they start cutting checks. And I get a check for $20,000. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit. Like, so I walk outside, and I'm thinking to myself, this is when they're going to swarm me. This is when the cops are going to have me on the ground, airline pilot, real estate scam. This is when it's happening. And I walk out there, and no one's there. And I'm like, waiting. So I call the guy up. I go, dude, that just worked. He goes, Steve, I told you, if you do what I say, it'll work. I'm like, I just made $20,000. He goes, no. He goes, we made $20,000. I get 50%. Remember? I'm like, no, I get it. I'm like, that's fine. I go, but this fucking worked. He goes, yeah. He goes, works every time. I go, you must make a lot of people very wealthy. He goes, surprisingly, Steve, you're one of the few people that actually got it across the goal line. I'm like, but I just met you 30 days ago, and you said to do what you said, and it'll work. He goes, exactly. I go, I don't understand. He goes, I said, people pay you $10,000. You tell them, you show them everything that I just did, and they don't do it. Why? He goes, bud, if you figure that out, let me know, because we will both be very, very wealthy if we can figure out how to make people do shit that they pay for. I go, can I do it again? He goes, you can do it as many times as you want. You've got the framework now. He goes, I showed you the framework. That is how I made enough money to buy an apartment complex. That copy, paste, repeat. That was my first entrance into real estate.
That was awesome, brother. So you guys called it a double escrow close. I'm assuming we would call that today a wholesale deal, and you just double close it to have two different sets of HUD statements. So your assignment fee is not seen by both parties. So you did a wholesale transaction. And I love what you said about just doing the checklist, doing what you're told, the framework, because your full-time job, you were already programmed to do that. It was easy peasy for you. And every time I talk to someone new getting in the space, the second you give them step 2 and step 3, they start trying to put a twist on it. Yeah. They start trying to put in a story from their uncle or something they saw on the news, or this one guy on their Instagram told them to do something, and I can already tell they're going to fail. I can already tell that they're going to fail just from that. I don't understand why. And I got my first deal by just doing what somebody told me to do over and over and over again. It is so simple, yet so many people fail at it. So
and you know what's interesting is, so I kept flipping. And I joined, I was in a local real estate investment group in Houston. And everyone's like, how are you doing this? Like, I was making, these are houses, 2002, 2003. Houses are $110,000, $120,000. And I'm making a minimum of $20,000 every time. And they're like, how are you doing this? They're like, you're not taking possession. You're not. I'm like, no. I'm like, I focused on negotiating. People are like, you can't do that. I'm like, okay. Like, we can go with that answer, but I'm doing it every day. But we can go with your answer that I can't do it. So I go to think, okay, this is a job, right? This isn't passive. I've got to grind all the time. Yes, I'm making a lot of money, but it's a job. As soon as I stop, the money stops, right? So I'm like, I want to own rental properties. So I'm flying, back at the airline. I'm talking to guys. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, I want to start buying some rental properties. And everyone's like, oh, dude, you don't want that. Tenants, toilets, turmoil. Like, why would you want to deal with tenants? Like that's horrible. Like, that's the worst thing you could do. They're like, don't do that. And I'm like, really? I'm like, wow. So I'm listening to these guys over and over and over again. Finally, after about 9 months of listening to everyone telling me why I shouldn't own rental properties, I finally asked one guy, I go, how many properties do you own? He goes, oh, I don't own any rentals. I go, you don't own any rentals? He goes, oh, no. He goes, I wouldn't do it. I go, but you've just been giving me advice for the last 9 months not to do it. He goes, well, my uncle owned a rental property in Kansas one time and it didn't turn out well. I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, I've been basing my whole economic future on your uncle in Kansas? So my point is, I have learned, for those watching, not everybody wants to see you succeed. Not everybody is going to give you the best advice for you. You have to do what's right for you, not what's right or wrong for them. Based on their experience, their model, what they did wrong, there's 1,000 things I'm sure people do right and probably 10,000 things people do wrong. That has nothing to do with you as an entrepreneur, depending on your education, depending on your goal, depending on your journey. It's all about you. It's never about them. And that was a mistake that I made that I just pass along.
Man, so many gold nuggets in what we said. I don't even know where to start. I started typing down notes of things I wanted to bring up, and you just blow right there. It was too much for me to type. I love what you said about going to jail. You made so much money on one deal that it felt like you were doing something wrong. I've had that moment a couple of times, and same thing when I walk out of the title company, like, here we go. I'm going to be on an episode of Cops. There's going to be a camera in my face or a news reporter, but it's not, because people will work a whole year of their life to make what you and I make on one or maybe two deals. And that just, it broke my brain. And it almost, after a few of these deals, it made me like psychologically unemployable by anybody else. And, you know, if you didn't love your job so much, I'm sure you would be in the same situation, but you really, really, your dream is your job. So you have the best part. I love what you said too about the best part-time job in the world, but it was almost to the point where when I did my first big deal, I bought a rental, held on to it for a couple of years, sold it. I tell the whole story on another podcast, but I walked out. I wanted it in a check for $117,000, and I wanted to like see it, hold it, take a selfie with it, understand that it's real. And then it's like still wasn't real until the bank cleared it. The bank held it up, put it on hold. This is a big deal. We got to release it in parts. Why didn't you do a wire transfer? And it was like, I'm like, okay, here we go. Now it's not real. I knew this wasn't real when the bank wouldn't release the money. But it is very much real. And in one deal that I did almost nothing to for 3 years, I made more money than I make in a year. So it is very, very much real. So you did a wholesale transaction, and then two, and then three, and then four. You were networking in the Houston area, part of networking, or like real estate meetup groups, which I tell everyone on the show. If you're not going to local meetup groups, you need to be doing that. You can go to Bigger Pockets and find a local meetup group. You can go to Facebook, type in whatever city name, RIA or meetup group or whatever. Go to meetup.com. There are more meetup groups all around you than ever before. There's not one around you. Go start one. Get out there, network in person. Don't just consume online. And, you know, a lot of people tell me that the main thing that they're missing is information. But I like what you and I have a friend in common that likes to say, if more information was the answer, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs. So more information is not the answer. I have watched so many fitness videos and dietary videos, and I don't look a quarter of what Steve Rozenberg looks like right now in this video if you're watching on YouTube. And so more information is not the answer. Being around people that do it, being around people that have did it, being around people that are doing it changes who you are. I say in the intro of the show, which, you know, Steve, you didn't get to hear, but I learned that the secret to becoming the person that I wanted to be was my friends and the people around you. They rub off on you, they change your identity. Your mentor changed your identity in a way that years of college and climbing the climbing that mountain to become a commercial pilot, because you don't just graduate from school and become a commercial pilot. That's a long slog. You had this identity, and it took crisis and pain in your life and then meeting the right people in order for you to change your identity. And even when that pain was relieved with you being given back your job that you love, it still, your identity was changed forever. And I really love that story, brother. So you were wholesaling deals for a while. That went on. Then you started doing the property management company, and at what point did your business like transition from wholesaling and doing property management? How'd that come about? And how'd you grow that?
It morphed out of necessity, right? Necessity is the mother of invention, or maybe it's the other way around. We needed it for our properties because they were so shitty. And one thing I will say, you'd mentioned a couple of things. I think it's important to note is that failing. When you fail in life, it's stressful. When you win, it's stressful. When you build a business, it is stressful. When you build portfolios, it is stressful. Pick your stress because it's going to happen. And I tell people all the time, you are going to pay the bill either way. The bill is coming. If you think investing in yourself to be successful is expensive, wait till you get the bill for failing. It's much higher and you have nothing to show for it but regret. So listen, I have failed and lost probably more money than many people have made. And I don't say that to be proud. I say that because it doesn't define me. The reason I am who I am today is not because of my wins. I sold my company for millions and millions of dollars, my property management company. And kind of like you said, you said something, Michael, I think it's important, is that when I sold my company, right? You get the accolades. There was a press release. We sold it for multi-million dollars, blah, blah, blah. Everyone pats you on the back. Monday morning comes around. Everyone's back to work. Everyone's living their life. And you're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I got to work, bro. Like, oh, okay. So what are you doing? Dude, I'm busy. I got shit to do. Like, I can't hang out. My wife says, hey, you got to take the trash out. I'm like, take the trash out? Like, we're millionaires. We just sold the company. She's like, I don't give a shit. The trash still needs to go out. So I'm walking the trash out to the street with everyone else. And I'm thinking to myself, no one cares. No one cares. I thought, and I think this is important about the journey. So I'm going somewhere with this journey. I thought everything was about building a business to scale it, to sell it. But what I realized, it was the journey along the way that was the experience. It's kind of like as entrepreneurs, we're going to pick something else to do. We're not going to stop. It's like a shark is never going to stop swimming. We're never going to stop doing what we do. That is the journey. So buying rental properties, whether it's your first, your fifth, your 10th, I coach tons of real estate investors. And some of them are so stressed. I'm like, you realize this is what it's about. This is what it's about. And listen, I'm good friends with all the bigger pockets guys, the Brandon Turners and AJ Osborne's and Jason, all the geniuses that I know, good friends of mine. And you know what they all do? They all enjoy the journey. Do we have bad days? Shit, yeah. Everybody has bad days. You'd be lying if you said you didn't have stressful days. But when you let the stress beat you and you let the stress define you, and that's who you become, that's when you got to start asking yourself, should I be doing this? I think that one of the challenges entrepreneurs have, and I say real estate investors are entrepreneurs. Here's an example. 2025, it's a new year. There's a new economy. There's obviously all these tariffs and stuff going on. All this stuff's happening. A lot of people say things are going to change. Like we all agree, nothing is like it was during COVID. Nothing is like it was last year. Everything is changing. But what have you done to change yourself to be successful? Many people are doing the same thing they were doing last year, the year before, 5 years ago, thinking they're going to be more successful than they were in the past. If you've had 5 years of pain, of frustration, of headaches, and you didn't change, you're going to have another 5 years of pain, frustration, and headache. Your input equals your output. The actions you took last year will be the results of this year. So I tell people this, that if you don't change, if you don't start doing something, it's not going to change. It'll change, but not for the better. And who do you blame in 2 years if you're in the same financial position you're in today? Who do you blame? You blame yourself, because indecision is a decision. We choose what we want to change and what we don't want to change. And the reason I bring this up is when you're doing real estate, nobody cares. Nobody cares if you get a good deal. Nobody cares if you get a bad deal. You have to care more than anyone else. You have to have not motivation. Motivation is like a battery. Motivation is what gets you out of the starting blocks. Your drive and your why is what carries you through the goal line. I should quote that. I just thought of that. But it's something to think about. If you're a new investor, right? People ask me like, what advice would you give a new investor? Well, let me say this. When you get in your car and you use your phone to go somewhere, we use probably Google Maps, let's just say. There are two things that you have to put into Google Maps for it to work. You got to put a starting place and you have to have an end destination. If you don't put those two things into Google Maps, it can't give you directions, meaning the strategy to get from A to B. How many people start buying real estate? And the reason I say this is this was me. This was a huge mistake I made. How many people, like me, start buying real estate and they have no final destination? They don't know where it's going to. So they just start buying and doing shit and being busy and this and that. And they are just driving around the subdivision all day long, busy with no intention of going somewhere. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years go by, and they wasted the one most valuable asset they have, which is their time, because they never slowed down to pick a destination of what their life looks like when it's completed. And so that, if I was going to give anyone advice, no one cares, and start with the end and reverse engineer your life from there. Don't ask me where that came from. It's just my words of wisdom for the day.
Man, I love that, Steve. Yeah, I felt the whole no one cares thing on a whole nother level whenever I started getting real estate and making money, because brother, nobody cared. The people I cared about the most, my family, my coworkers. Well, I was really, really close to my boss for a while, and he and I still talk. Um, when I discovered this magical thing called real estate, because it defies people's belief systems that you can buy properties for 20, 30, 40 cents on the dollar. It defies people's belief system that you don't need money to do a deal if you do it the right way. It defies everything we've been taught and our experiences around us. Most of that comes from our education system or the friends and family that we grew up with. So when I discovered this and I wanted to share it with everybody, brother, nobody cared.
Nobody cares.
Any of that. In fact, some people, not everybody, but some people didn't like that I was becoming successful, didn't like that I was changing who I am.
Yeah.
And actually actively moved, I wouldn't say so far as to sabotage me, but to say bad things about me in my existing social circles because of, I still don't know what it is. I've read a lot of books on human psychology. It's changing power dynamics. I don't know what it is, but the first thing people, and then I got a real crash course of how the human mind works, because I travel every week for work when I had a full-time job, kind of like you, except I was in the back of the plane, not on the front of the plane. So I had the worst view, right? And I wasn't getting paid to have fun like you were. And so every week I was in a different city. I had to stay moving. I was only in Houston on weekends and holidays for 8 years. And I would go to the executive lounge of these hotels. I was a Diamond member everywhere I went. Nice restaurants on the company dime, free food, free alcohol, free poison, whatever you want to call it. And I would talk to these people that had much higher income than me, presumably more net worth than me. And it was always like a VP or someone in the C-suite that was always like trying to mentor me about whatever industry I'm in or they're in. And then you let them know about this opportunity that you have, and they're almost like disgust or in disbelief or don't want to talk to you anymore, because in their mind they viewed that they were in a superior position than you because they had a better degree than you or a higher salary than you. First thing they ask, what do you do? What's your job title? Where'd you go to school? And they put you in a pecking order with them. And we're all having free drinks, having a good time. And I had just read a book, Raising Private Capital, written by some bigger pockets people that we both know and love. And I'm trying to do what the book says, and I'm talking to all these people around me, and nobody cared. They either did not care because it defied their belief system and their self-identity, because I'm a VP of whatever, acquisition, sales, marketing, whatever you want, finance, logistics, whatever. And they could not fit that into their box. And furthermore, they look at someone like me that was 20, 30 years their junior, making half their salary. These guys are making $250,000 a year or more. And they couldn't, they, in their mind, I think they processed it as, if this was real, why does this kid know about it, not me? And if this was real, I've been wasting my life and I should have been doing what this kid is, not me. So it can't be real. It must not be real. And they'd be very dismissive of me. And I learned the fastest way to end a social relationship or engagement was to talk about this magical thing I was doing. I was printing money with other people's money. This magical thing I was doing, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody. And then I started posting about it on my social media, and some people even went as far as to like no longer interact with me at social functions or on my posts and things like that. So I promise you, the people that you're worried about offending, the people that you're holding back, the people that you're afraid that might know what you're going on, when someone like Steve Rosenberg takes you and says, here's the path we're going to put you down, follow my instructions, um, this worry that you're going to lose your identity or you're going to disappoint the people around you, or that you're going to, that defies what you believe you are. If you're a nurse, if you're a truck driver, you're an engineer, you're a doctor or a lawyer, I promise you the people around you do not care. And some of them will actively move to keep you where you're at and sabotage you. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I've been wanting to say that forever. I've been carrying that around on my chest for years.
And you know, it's funny, Michael, one thing that I never forget that my mentor taught me, I was like, man, I was like, dude, like, I don't know anything about real estate. Like, I don't even know these terms, ROI, cash on cash. He goes, Steve, believe it or not, you're the best client I could ever have, because I don't have to untrain all the things that are fucked up in your head because you have nothing in your head. He's like, you're a blank canvas. He goes, do you know how hard it is to explain to someone that thinks they know what they're doing and they're telling me I can't do it when I make millions of dollars a year doing it and they've never done it? So he goes, the fact that you're just open and you have no shits to give one way or the other and you don't have any say, he goes, you're the best. So for people that are watching, if you haven't done anything, you're the best person that I would say is coachable, because you're like a blank canvas. But I will say, make sure if someone says, do what I say, just do it. It's kind of like there's the law of sequence, right? And the law of sequence is you can't just do the right things. You have to do the right things in the right order. For example, if you were going to bake a cake, there is a recipe to bake a cake. At the end of, right before you put the cake in the oven, you don't say, well, fuck it, I'm just going to put the frosting on now and then I'm going to shove it in the oven because I'm in a hurry. So you pull it out of the oven and you're like, well, that didn't work. So I think I'll do it again. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to keep putting frosting on the cake. Is that cake ever going to be edible? No. That's what we do. We keep doing the wrong thing over and over again, expecting a different result. When there is a recipe that people like me, people like you, other people, just follow the recipe. It's not rocket science. It is just a proven track record. It's kind of like if you said, hey, Steve, I got this new way to tie my shoes. I'm going to do it inside of my foot and it's going to be totally different. It's going to revolutionize everything. I'm like, but there's just an easy way to tie a shoe. Just tie it that way. But see, this is a new way. And that's what you get when you get new real estate investors. Like, I've never done it before, but it just seems to make more logical sense to do a deal this way. I'm like, but you've never done it. So we can do that, but what we're wasting is our time. And that is our most valuable asset that we all have. So why waste our time? Why not just follow the recipe and bake the cake the way everyone's been doing it for the last fucking 200 years? Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. The wheel works. Follow the recipe. That's my advice.
Yeah, I love that, Steve. You put the frosting on the cake and then shove it in the oven. That is awesome. Yeah, not rocket science. I love that you said it's not rocket science. And so part of the reason that I was kind of in disbelief when I learned how real estate works is because I was working for a Fortune 500 company, and we were buying mom and pop companies in our sector and rolling them into our bigger enterprise. And I was on the acquisitions team for a short period of time, and so we were buying and integrating and verifying assets, onboarding employees, doing all this stuff. And there were so many moving parts in a corporation. And it was so complicated. And some deals we made a lot of money, some deals we lost a lot of money, some deals things went sideways we could have never predicted. And then when I learned how to buy and fix a single family home, I was like, there is no way it is this easy. This is a million times easier than my job. And many people I talk to, they have these complicated jobs or in the medical field or they're doing something like being a pilot. You know, it's not as straightforward as buying and renovating a house at all. And it was just so easy. I was like, this is not rocket science. And then I talked to engineers and people and they just want to make it complicated. They do not want to follow the instruction of the set. They've never done a deal, but they want to walk to you with their chest poked out with some kind of authority, like they've got a better idea. You're overlooking this. They want to whiteboard out and dot plot everything. So I myself am having challenges getting through that with newbies as well. We're just going to call this coach eventing. We're coach bitching. This is the coach bitching hour over here.
Exactly. What's wrong with everyone else but us?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's move to the last segment here, because I could chat with you forever, but you're a stud and I can't take all your time here. All right. There's other people chomping at the bit. It's Steve Rozenberg here. I'm going to move to my last segment here of the show, where we are going to talk about, so we're going to talk about books. We're going to get a book recommendation from you, but I like to say the same spiel on every episode. Many times in our life, we're on a course like a ship rowing through the ocean. Ships are big and slow. They take a lot of time to move. Many times we believe that we're on a course of our own choosing, but either friends, family, school, or environment influenced us and set us on that course. I've met a lot of real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Many times their course changed because of a book they read. So, Steve, I ask you the same question I ask everybody else. What book either got you into real estate or changed how you run your real estate business the most?
I think probably everyone in the world has the same book that probably got them into real estate, which was the Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? I think everybody probably. And what's cool is I was at an event that I got to actually speak at an event with him last year, which was very, very cool. You get to meet, your someone that you look up to. So that obviously gave me the fundamentals, but I would say, I really liked a couple books that just made me think differently. It wasn't the tactical side, but it was the strategy side. I really liked Grant Cardone's 10X. I thought his book was really good because it really taught me to think bigger than I am. And it really got me to understand that I am my own limiting belief. I'm my own limiting power. I am the reason I'm not where I want to be in life. Because I just need to do more. Like everyone, the premise that I learned from that book that I took away, is you just need to do more. You need to make more phone calls. You need to do more deals. You just need to do more. And that's what we don't do. And that really took the way. And the other book I learned from Darren Hardy, it's called The Compound Effect. And the compound effect is just small changes over a long period of time make a huge difference. And it's just you're compounding over and over and over again. The difference, I believe it's going from like LA to New York and LA to Miami is like a 5-degree heading change, something like that. I forget the number, but it's so subtle, but it's over a long period of time. So same could be said about people. If you eat one candy bar, not a big deal. You eat one candy bar every single day over 10, 15 years, probably could be a bigger deal. So I think that those books, I like the books. You had said this as well. Like, I like the ones that make me think. The tactical part, listen, at some point you learn the skills. Real estate is 4 walls and a roof. That's all it is. It's the business running inside those 4 walls and the roof that will determine if you're successful or not. Whether it's long-term, short-term, flip, whatever you want to call it. It's just the business model. So we never really focus on the business model as much as we focus on the 4 walls and the roof. That is irrelevant to me. I don't care if it's here, Australia, Belize. It means nothing to me. It's the business model that I'm running inside of those 4 walls and the roof. And that's what those books really taught me.
Yeah, I love that. While you were talking, I grabbed, for those of you on YouTube, you can see me holding up, I have an original copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I recommend, if you've never read it, go get the modern one, the 20-year anniversary one. But I've got an original one here. I'm very jealous. I saw you got to meet Robert Kiyosaki and speak on stage with him. I saw that on your social media. I didn't get to make
Yeah.
that event. I hope to make it this year to Dallas for that same event, where I hope to finally meet the guy. But yeah, the Purple Bible, we all start there. So I'm glad you gave us other ones, because I have to ask some guests, okay, you gave us Rich Dad Poor Dad, give us something else.
Yeah,
Everyone gives us Rich Dad Poor Dad.
exactly.
Yeah. So we're also big believers in the Go Giver here. And for anybody who hasn't read the Go Giver, when you were first born, your parents gave to you long before you were able to give back to them. And if you work a traditional job, you work 2 weeks or more before the employer gives back to you. So if you think you're going to hold firewood and stare at the fireplace and say, give me warmth first, and then I'll give you this wood, it's going to be a very cold winter for you. So I ask every guest the same question on every day. What can you give the audience today?
Well, I think I gave a lot of knowledge, but if it's something physical, you know, here's what I like to give. I think that as entrepreneurs, as real estate investors, we get so caught up in the tactical side, we forget that communication, negotiation is the key. If you don't understand how to monetize your business and make money, you're going out of business. You just don't realize it till your bank account says zero. I think learning the skill sets of how to communicate, meaning whether it's to a tenant, a contractor, a seller, a buyer, your spouse, your kids, someone is selling and someone is being sold on a concept, product, or idea. So I have a roadmap. I'll give it to you. It's a free download. It's a very quick, easy 10-page document. That's a sales roadmap. How the psychology of sales works, why people buy, and how to sell. Because if somebody doesn't have a problem, they're not going to buy your solution. And so a lot of times we don't understand. We think because we have it, they should want it. It's not how sales works. I'm a master sales person. This is what I do. I believe communication is the key. And I believe that if you're a master communicator, you can be successful in any endeavor that you do. So I'd be willing to give that to the audience. You have the show notes. They can find me on Instagram. Last name is Rozenberg, Rozenberg, Steve. And if you just send me a message that says roadmap, myself or someone from my team will send it to you as a complimentary gift for watching this show.
Yeah, we'll put that link in the description below. And as he said, you can DM him on Instagram. It's his name backwards. It's Rozenberg Steve on IG. And thank you for giving that. And then what can our audience give you today?
I'm a big believer in abundance. I would say the gift that I believe keeps giving is the gift of abundance. Do something selfless for other people. That's what I would say. Listen, my life is full. I live a great life. If somebody gets something out of this, send me a message on social media that you got something out of this. If it changed the way you look at your day, if it changed on how you're going to look moving forward, spending time creating memories with your family, send me a message. Let me know. I'd love to hear. And it is me that answers you. I am the one that answers you. So I'd love to hear how this helped you. Or if it didn't, and you may say, Steve, you're horrible. You suck. Never do another podcast again. You can say that as well.
Steve's got thick skin. You can tell him whatever you want.
That's right. That's right. No gentleness with me.
I love it, brother. And so you gave away your socials where everybody can find you. And for anybody who wants to see more of this content, follow me on Instagram at Michael B. Someone. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment. If you're watching this on Apple or Spotify, give me a 5-star review if you think I need one. Or if not, give me a 1-star and say you suck. I'm adopting that from Steve Rozenberg. I'm taking that on head on. Tell me how it is, man. I don't care. I can take it. And if you have any questions, I give away my cell phone number in every episode. Please shoot me a text. Don't call me. I get so many spam calls I won't pick up. 832-301-9672. This is Michael Hong for the Be Someone podcast, signing off.